1, 2. Is this on?
Since its inception, AEW have made massive waves within the wrestling industry. So much so that WWE have referenced the company and its wrestlers numerous times on their programming.
Quite frankly, you could ask me anything. You could have asked me about AEW.
Hey, Sammy, so...
Regardless if there were digs, jokes, or just mentions to enhance the story.
He's just a less famous Miz. You have people on other shows saying your name just to get a cheap reaction.
We'll be covering these moments by highlighting 50 times WWE reference All Elite Wrestling.
And what happened? You ran away, you started a company and a promotion that you couldn't get over in.
I make empires for billionaires. All you've ever done is steal money from their kids.
You took a big chunk of change to go join the competition. How'd that work out for you?
When AEW talent Billy Gunn was allowed to appear at the 2019 Hall of Fame as part of DX, there were bound to be comments referencing the new company.
We appreciate you being here and, being all in.
Don't say Vince McMahon. He will authorize me to give all of you jobs, and he will then fire you.
He can't fire me.
He will buy that pissant company just to fire you again.
Gunn wasn't allowed to appear with DX 3 years later during a reunion on Raw, but Billy's absence and current whereabouts were explained on commentary.
The new age outlaws!
The office equipment these days, I'm not sure.
It was at the Hall of Fame where Triple H fired one of the first direct shots from WWE at the Jacksonville promotion.
Apparently, if you put executive vice president in front of anybody's name, they feel important.
It's believed that Cody Rhodes responded to the King of Kings jab a month later by smashing a throne with a sledgehammer at the Double or Nothing event. Rhodes later called back to the destruction of the throne after rejoining WWE.
I went off in the distance, I smashed the throne, and the person who sits on that throne has now become my closest working ally.
The first mention of AEW on the weekly shows came just after they'd done their first pay-per-view in May 2019. With a fan Q&A segment on Raw going terribly, Sami Zayn sought to make it more interesting.
Quite frankly, you could ask me anything. You could have asked me about AEW.
Hey, Sammy, so...
Speaking of AEW's first pay-per-view, Jon Moxley, still going by Dean Ambrose, foreshadowed his debut with All Elite in his final WWE interview. He made various casino analogies about his departure, which was fitting given the theme of All Elite Wrestling's upcoming Double or Nothing show in Las Vegas, which would be the site of Moxley's debut for the company.
8 years ago, I walked into this casino. Now I'm cashing in my chips, and I'm walking away from the table. I won the game. And what I do with the rest of my life from here on out is my business. This time, the $1 Million Man didn't get what he wanted.
Moxley was brought up a few times on WWE shows after leaving, being called both Ambrose and Mox.
You've been protected by the Shield. Hell, you almost ruined Seth Rollins. You ran Dean Ambrose out of WWE. You've had...
Just like me and Mox did in the Shield, the Usos are your pedestal. When Mox, Seth, and Roman would go time to time, beating everybody's ass.
Corey Graves even sold for a brief second the possibility of Moxley appearing at WrestleMania 40 after the Shield's music hit.
No. This is impossible at this point.
Cody Rhodes was the first main roster acquisition WWE made from AEW, the organization he helped create. So naturally, there were going to be comments made documenting his past, not just from himself, but also his opponents.
You don't get to take a sledgehammer to the throne and then come back and try to take that throne from me. Every single day that you were gone, you and your little friends, you tried to tear down what I was building here. Jacksonville. Many of you know this was my home during the pandemic. We made a lot of wonderful memories together.
When we started making this thing cool again back in 2020, he was off somewhere doing a whole lot of nothing. And what happened? You ran away, you started a company and a promotion that you couldn't get over in, and then you ran away.
He also quit New Japan Pro Wrestling. You quit Ring of Honor. This man right here helped start up a company, and you quit it 2.
I got booed in a company I created. Oh gosh, there's so much. I knew you weren't gonna bite on any of this stuff though. You created a lot of disenfranchised fans who made it easy for me to pack up and go elsewhere and say, hey, look at me. I make empires for billionaires. All you've ever done is steal money from their kids.
Cole and his partner Pat McAfee made mention of Sting's retirement that took place for AEW in March 2024.
And after nearly 40 years, the great Sting has retired from professional wrestling. Congratulations to Sting.
Absolutely epic match last night.
Penta got welcomed to the big time during his debut by Cole. This implies the Luchador's previous place of work was beneath WWE.
Welcome to the big time, Penta!
Cole cited Cody Rhodes' history in the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., where Cody wrestled the opening match on the first episode of AEW Dynamite.
There's been a lot of history for Cody Rhodes here at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C.
During an appearance on NXT, Rhodes faced off with some of the other signings made from Jacksonville.
Seems like you guys are in a good place.
In fact, there were several winks and nudges made towards the various NXT signees' time in AEW.
Booker, that's Ethan Page! Wasn't he in AEW?
Whoa. Trick.
In case it doesn't work out here, you could always go back. Oh, never mind. We both know you burnt every bridge, don't we?
Sadly, you didn't take style from the other place, but either way.
And you took it from The Rock. Can't help that you're a midget version of that, but shut your mouth and talk to him instead of me, kid.
Sean Spears, very unprofessional.
Just add another Canadian to the list of people that hate me, huh?
Well, I mean, we'll leave that for a different day and maybe a podcast.
This Sunday, I return home to Toronto, and I will reach the pinnacle. Then.
Just stole the spotlight from Ricky Saints.
AEW has been alluded to a few times during WWE's post-show press conferences, including when Triple H took a shot at their use of the Forbidden Door term to describe contracted wrestlers showing up in different companies.
It's exciting to just be able to branch out. And, I'm not going to use all the cliched terms about what door people go through or anything like that because it's stupid and silly.
Aside from Billy Gunn, who we spoke about earlier, there are a few other AEW stars that appeared on screen in WWE while still contracted to All Elite Wrestling.
Adam Cole's girlfriend, Britt Baker, looking on with concern as we all are looking on. I cannot believe that.
Into the Shakespeare. The Roman. Cameo.
And WWE Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley. With who? A month away from her battle with Becky Lynch at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he didn't really forget.
I did. No, seriously. Seth versus his opponent.
CM Punk is someone we'll be seeing a lot of on this list. But first, we have to look at something he said on AEW TV in 2021 that warranted a direct response on WWE programming.
He's just a less famous Miz.
You have people on other shows saying your name just to get a cheap reaction.
Punk's controversial spell in AEW came to a head at the All Out 2022 event when comments he made in the post-show press conference sparked a brawl afterwards between numerous wrestlers. WWE appeared to get their licks in shortly after by doing an angle which disparaged authority figure Adam Pearce for airing dirty laundry in public. This was after he got mad at Ronda Rousey per the storyline and then got beat up for it.
Adam Pearce has gotten carried away. He's aired the dirty laundry publicly, hence the reason this investigation was taken behind the scenes with Ronda.
Punk made a callback to a line from the All Out presser on Raw in March 2025.
I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm fucking tired and I work with fucking children.
I respect the situation.
The more things change, the more things stay the same. I work with children.
The All Out saga left Tony Khan at the mercy of many questions, most of which he couldn't answer legally. This frustrated Ariel Helwani, who appeared on SmackDown in Montreal and then went back and forth with Khan on Twitter citing their disappointing interview together. WWE made light of this at the 2023 Elimination Chamber, where Helwani was in attendance.
The unbiased, world-renowned combat sports journalist Ariel Helwani, who asks all the hard questions, whether you want to answer them or not.
We'll include a few speculative references now, since it's fun to try and connect the dots, starting with Seth Rollins telling Drew McIntyre to cry me a river, the same thing Jack Perry said at All In 2023 as a shot at CM Punk, who told Perry not to use real glass for a different spot in the weeks prior.
You know what this is right here?
And then crushing.
Real glass.
Crushing the
Go
abdomen.
cry me a river.
Boo-hoo, cry me a river. You big Scottish baby.
Perry's comments resulted in Punk confronting him right before a match with Samoa Joe. The Samoan submission machine separated Punk and Perry after things got physical. WWE did their own security footage brawl as an angle 2 weeks after AEW aired the footage of Punk and Perry in April 2024. You might say this is a coincidence, but it's worth mentioning due to the timing, since it's not often WWE does security cam skits like this. There was no doubt what Punk was alluding to when he called Drew McIntyre a choke artist on Raw in May 2024.
Not like how I'm a choke artist, Pat. Two very different things.
Guillotine, yeah.
2 months later, Drew posted a picture with Jack Perry on social media, which Michael Cole then brought up on television.
Drew McIntyre, we're stirring things up on social media this past week, bringing up some things from CM Punk's past.
The real glass spot came back into play when Drew was chokeslammed onto the windshield of a car by Damian Priest in 2025. With McIntyre laid out on the vehicle, Punk walked past with a smirk on his face.
What he sees, apparently no love lost between those two.
With WWE in the midst of hot streak wrestling in front of full buildings each week, Punk used this as an opportunity to take aim at AEW's failing attendances by stating how WWE actually had fans on the hard cam side of the arena.
Beat him up in the cheap seats. There's people on this side of the camera. I'll beat him up over there. I want Drew McIntyre.
I've now cooled down, and to be clear, I have been reprimanded, but I'm a pro and we move on.
When Punk crossed paths with Cody Rhodes again in WWE, the Chicago native questioned if Rhodes can separate business issues from personal ones. This is likely a reference to Cody's departure from AEW, which the American Nightmare has said stemmed from a personal issue.
Because I can separate business from personal. Can you?
In interviews, Cody has spoken about how his wife Brandi was unfairly scapegoated in AEW upon departing. Then after being interrupted by The Rock on a prior show, Rhodes used the line Brandi said in AEW 4 years earlier.
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
And just like Cody had a bunch of his rivals citing his AEW past, Punk received the same treatment.
And then you took a big chunk of change to go join the competition. How'd that work out for you?
But also similar to Rhodes, Punk made some AEW callbacks of his own.
Who would feel comfortable working with somebody who randomly just punches people in the face backstage? You just can't be doing stuff like that. That's insane.
Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video on the top 100 funniest botches that totally expose wrestling. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.